Okay. So what I want to go through N3 is just back through the whole lesson that we went through. So the first thing is, do you know what the quadratic, or the standard form of a quadratic is?
F of x equals y, number x plus something. But it goes in the ABC form.
Right. So what it actually looks like is you could use f of x or y. We're just going to talk about the equation, not the function for right now. So the equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? And that is your quadratic equation. Okay? That's a quadratic equation right there. All right? Y equals that. Okay, now that produces a graph that looks like this. Okay, you remember the name of that graph?
So it's the U graph or V graph?
Right, well it's a U-shaped graph, which we call a parabola.
Parabola.
Or more commonly known as a parabola. Okay, that's a parabola. Now what's important about a parabola is that it has a special point right there. And that special point we call the vertex. Very good. So this is this is the parent function of the parabola. We'll talk about more on it. It's different. So that's what a parabola looks like right now. It goes up infinitely up and to the right or into the left, and then the lowest point is the vertex, right? Okay. Now, do we notice that in geometry you learned about symmetry, right? Where you're learning about symmetry. So what you notice is I can make a dotted line directly through the parabola that cuts it in half, right? You can fold your parabola over this and it's going to be exactly the same. So you can say that this parabola is symmetrical about this dotted line, right? Okay. So do you remember what the dotted line is called?
The y.
Well, it is on the y-axis, but the formal name of the red line, no matter where it is just going to be called the axis of symmetry.
Which is where it is.
Right. In this graph, it's on the y-axis. Okay? So we're on that point right now. So do you remember the formula to find the axis of symmetry? There you go. You're just learning. I know you're just trying to go from memory. So x equals opposite of b divided by 2a. Done. Okay? Now, what do you notice about the axis of symmetry? The axis of symmetry goes through the vertex, right? And that's very important. So remember, the vertex is a point, right? It's a little dot, right? It's a point. All points have a x and y coordinate. Right? Would you agree? So the x-coordinate of the vertex is the axis of symmetry. See, the axis of symmetry, yes, is a line, but it's also the x-coordinate of your vertex. Let's go and take a look. So now, how do you find the y value? Well, let's go and take a look at a line, right? Let's go back and do a little. So here's the equation of a line, right? And let's just say this line is y equals 2x plus 1. Okay? Now, let's say at this point, this is when x equals 1, right? So if I said x equals 1, what does y equal? Do you remember what you need to do to find the value of y? Do you know what you need to do, though? Don't try to calculate. Do you know what you need to do? Okay. If I know the value of x is 1, to find the value of y, you plug in the value of x in for x. So if x equals 1, you plug the value of 1 in. So therefore, 2 times 1 plus 3, so we say y equals 3. So if x equals 1, that means y equals 1, 2, 3. Which it does right there, right? What about if we wanted to say what happens when x equals negative 5? What are you going to do with negative 5? If you want to find the y value when x equals negative 5, what would you do? Same thing what we did over here. Plug it in, right? So you'd say y equals 2 times negative 5 plus 1. So let's find the value of y. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, plus 1 is negative 9. So y equals negative 9. So therefore, when x equals negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Y equals negative 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you go negative 5 down to negative 9. Now, does this graph go through there? Well, I don't know, I probably didn't graph it. It's supposed to, okay? It's supposed to go through that line, all right? I just didn't really grab a good graph. Okay, so the slope would probably be a little bit more, okay? The slope probably should look something like this. So let's pretend the graph looks like that, okay? Yeah, yeah. So it's supposed to go through the point negative 5, negative 9. All right, so that's more what the slope looks like. Follow me?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're not dealing with the line though. We're dealing with a quadratic equation. So let's say my x equals 3. So if I know my x equals 3, if I want to find the vertex, what do? You're going to plug 3 in for the value of x, right? So let's actually do a problem. Let's not waste our time doing all this stuff. Let's actually do a problem. And I'm just going to do the problem that I already wrote. So y equals x squared minus 6x plus 8. So there's 4 steps we do. First step, label a, b, and c, right? A is the coefficient of x squared, right? So therefore, you say a equals, what's the number in front of x squared? Well, there is no number, right? So we know there can be a 1, because 1 times x squared is x squared. B equals negative 6, C equals 8. Follow me? Okay. So now, step 2. Find the axis of symmetry. So x equals opposite of b divided by 2 times a. So all you do is you plug in negative 6 in for b and 1 in for a. Okay? Fair enough? You're just plugging them in.
Okay.
Think about it this way. If I said x equals 3, z equals 2, and I give you this term, 3x plus z, how do you find the value of that expression? You plug 3 in for x, and you plug 2 in for z, right?
Right.
So that's all you're going to do here. You're just going to say negative 6, because you put negative 6 in for b, divided by 2 times 1. I put, what is the value of b?
The value of b is position.
Yeah,
6.
negative 6.
Negative 6.
So it's negative 6.
And that, therefore, it'll make it a positive. And the 2 times the 1 will make it 2.
And 6 divided by 2 is? 3. Okay? So therefore, now we know what x equals, right? So the axis of symmetry x equals 3. Right? Because when we plugged it all in, x equaled all this stuff, x equals 3. So now I want to find the vertex. So the vertex, remember, here's our equation. Y equals x squared minus 6x plus 8. We know that x equals 3. So what do we want to do with 3? We want to plug it in for what?
Plug it in for x.
Exactly. So do y equals 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 8. Now we need to do a little math. 9 minus 18 plus 8. Okay? So therefore, negative 18, so we're going to have negative 1. So what equals negative 1? Y equals negative 1, right? So now we know what y equals, and we know what x equals, right? What do we need to know for the vertex? All we need to know for the vertex is what x equals and what y equals. So therefore, for number 4, you say x equals 3 and y equals negative 1. That's step 4, which is your vertex. Ta-da! Done. Okay? Do you have your homework book?